Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Wow, here we go. Before we dive into it, if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all the support. If you're going to buy tickets, Sixers start tomorrow. I know it's away, but the Flyers started as well. Eagles tickets available. And if you're not even from the area, get tickets from your local teams by using the SeatGeek promo code BRODES for $20 off of your purchase. It is a no-brainer. Head on over to Twitter, at Brodes81. That is my personal account. Just shameless plug. Follow me there. And with that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. I can't say I'm surprised that we're sitting here right now discussing how it's been an absolute gong show today down in Camden at the practice facility. But here we are. You know, I believe that it was very methodical by Ben Simmons. He figured there was a way to get kicked out of practice when Doc Rivers tells him to play in a defensive drill, and he says no. He figured there is an opportunity to get kicked out because of the lack of effort, the lack of determination to compete, which means he would not have to face the thousands of people that were waiting on NBC Sports Philadelphia's live stream to hear what he had to say. He would not have to face all the questions from Derek Bodner, Rich Hoffman, Howard Eskin, Mike Missinelli, you name it, Kevin Kincaid, Keith Pompey, and instead he forces, unfortunately, Doc Rivers to be in a very uncomfortable situation. He snapped at a few people. Not that I would have reacted a different way. I probably would have been very emotional at that time and said some things because he was asked what happened, and he said, "That's none of your business." And he had some tone to him. I don't really knock him for that. You know, I see the frustration by fans out there because there was a quote from the head coach saying he could come back on Thursday. We'll see. He'll have another opportunity when we return from New Orleans because he is suspended for game one. Not that we are surprised, and you would be a fool to imagine that he would go out the Wells Fargo Center's tunnel Friday against the Brooklyn Nets in front of that crowd, but I can't wait to hear all the screaming and all the obnoxiousness and all the fans just making his life a living hell because it's his fault, right? This is simple, and I mentioned this on Coffee with Brodes. There's a cause and an effect, right? For anyone saying the Sixers are the problem for handling it this way, or Daryl Morey is the problem, or anybody else is the problem other than Ben Simmons, you are just ridiculous. It's just that simple. You are flat out a moron and looking at this the wrong way. This is 1,000% Ben Simmons. This is exactly what he wants you to do, which is point the blame at somebody else. And you know what's so silly about this? If he actually used his brain, it's pretty clear that there's a lot of people right now around the sport of basketball and all around sports, not just basketball. This is a national news story all around the entire world, not just the NBA. You have NFL reporters, Ian Rappaport talking about it. Everyone's talking about the way that he has mismanaged this. And if his goal is to get out of town, how does he really believe that this is the best method to do it? Right? I mean, it might not be what you want to do, which is show up and pretend like you care. But ultimately, if you want out, you can't be playing this foolish game that you're doing right now. The difference between this and other scenarios is the length of the deal. Now, I was listening to Mikey Miss today, and he brought up the CBA. And, of course, that's going to play such a major role in the determination of what's happening here. And apparently, because they already suspended him for the detrimental to the team, the acts that he went through today, you know, you just can't keep repeating that over and over and over again if you are a team. Once you do, the league can step in, and now the NBA has the control and has the power. But I just don't understand how Ben Simmons did not fully process. It's almost as if he had no idea exactly all of the issues that would occur. He's got no clue on what was going to happen, the cause and the effect. You know, he's very blind to that type of, way about life. When you make a decision, there's going to be a reaction to that decision. There's going to be a counter to that reaction. There's going to be an effect to that reaction. What? Oh, I didn't know that. Unbelievable. I mean, it really is. So I'm not surprised. And he put his team in a very uncomfortable spot. Joel Embiid, and now there's a debate on, did he say, I'm not worried about that man, as in I'm not worried about Ben Simmons, or was it, I'm not worried about that man, as if they're not worried about it, man, and then finishing his sentence with man. I don't know if I did a good job at describing what the hell I was just trying to say, but I think you get my point. What I heard from Joel, I've listened to the comment maybe 6,000 times so I could honestly get it down to the nitty-gritty here, and it sounds as if he's saying, I don't care about that man, as in I don't care about Ben Simmons, the individual, anymore. And then he goes on and continues about babysitting. We're not here to babysit. I wonder how much of this really does rally the crew together. This clown, this dumbass, this moron, this dope. Let's go. Let's bring it together here. Joel said, I'm going to need some help to win a championship. Who's going to step up? What teammate is it going to be? Or what collective group of individuals will be wearing that Sixers uniform, ready to put your balls out there and fight for me? Fight with me. Let's go. You know, is there a reaction where the team is so motivated and so determined because of all this silliness and goofiness behind the scenes that they actually have a sense of urgency to go out there and battle through? Now, if we're talking about regular season games, I've been on the record for quite some time now saying, you know, look, this team, it's the regular season. How many Orlando Magic, New Orleans Pelicans without Zion, Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings? I mean, how many times do you see these type of teams throughout the regular season where you could have a fine win total? Will it be 55, 56? I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer to that question. I'm fascinated to watch them play a new style with the point guard that can actually play pick and roll. But the problem is, too, with Shake Milton out, you have an issue with your secondary unit, whether it's Seth Curry or whether it's Furkan Korkmaz. You know, you definitely are in an uncomfortable spot. Still, I think they have enough firepower to win a lot of regular season games, and I don't blame the Sixers for playing this game at this point. You know, you are being outrageous, in my opinion, if you start pointing the fingers at the Sixers instead of looking at the one that is really starting this off. You know, then there's reports about how he's really upset because there wasn't enough time to make mistakes. What do you mean not enough time? First off, you've been in the league for how many years, Ben? And on top of that, you would never admit that you made a mistake in your entire life. And also, stop being a douche. Think about it this way, man. We're talking about you shooting a basketball. How many years has this been the message? He doesn't even need to make them. He just has to take them. What type of sickos are we to now demand not even making your shots? We live in a world where majority of this fan base would have been absolutely 1,000% satisfied with you just taking the shot. Yet we put too much pressure on you. Yet it was too much to go to a team that was ready to win. It's funny. For how long have we said, well, we better put pieces around Joel and Ben so he doesn't get upset and leave to L.A.? Yet you put a great team around him, a first overall seed in the Eastern Conference, and that's not good enough for Ben. Where is his supporting cast? Where is his family? Where are his loved ones? Or is he just running loose? Where, you know what, his family chalks it up to, we've tried. All right, we've talked to him a billion times. We sat down with him and Rich Paul. We sat down with everyone involved. We expressed our feelings, yet he's a grown man and he can do whatever he wants to. I mean, how much of it is that? I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm just trying to say. You know, and then there's the approach of the mental health side of things. And yeah, I mean, it's clear when you're trying to go through behind the scenes ways to not play in a game 7 because you are scared to play the game. Yeah, there's clearly a second level to this, right? He's not properly in the right mindset. But then we can date back to Lane Johnson just went through a situation of depression and anxiety that impacted his life. He went about it the right way. Do you see the difference in the way these are being handled? I need time and space away. I'm dealing with a personal matter. I will return when I can. And then when he returns, he puts out this big statement and he puts out this graphic and says, thank you, Philadelphia. I needed this. I needed time away. I can't wait to get back with my team. So I'm just saying, if that's the road, because we just heard about the masseuse and the COVID-19 stuff and being afraid to play in Game 7, there is an element here of, and this is not surprising, there's a lot more that's just not being triggered in his head. He's not in the right mindset. There's a mental toughness about it, and there's a mental grind about it that he's having a hard time dealing with. And if that's the case, okay, but there's ways to analyze it. So first it's, Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers for throwing him under the bus. Then it's the fan base. Then it's roster construction because they don't have enough spacing around him. And the way that him and Joel Embiid are on the floor together doesn't make sense, apparently, to Ben Simmons. Then it's the fake COVID story. Now we're not giving him enough time to grow. I mean, are we for real? We're talking about a 25-year-old man. If you were to show an individual what not to do when becoming a professional athlete, how to not handle yourself, you show the perfect biography or the perfect documentary of Ben Simmons. Because it's embarrassing. It really is. Does he not understand that he's insanely losing his image? But I guess he's so head in. He's so dug into this. I mean, you got your cell phone in your pocket during practice. Honestly, what an ass. What an ass. To put your teammates in that type of position. And I know that there's some out there saying, Daryl Morey, if you would have traded him however long ago, look, I bet you by the end of the day, when they do trade him, if they ever do, and apparently they're putting their foot in the ground saying it's not going to be for role players, it's going to be something that's seriously going to impact this franchise to be a legitimate contender. And once again, once you have that leverage of you have him signed for a handful of years, it's a totally different beast compared to if, let's say, there's a contract running out. If something's where the contract is over at the end of the season and he becomes a UFA, this absolutely 1,000% changes everything. But for Daryl Morey, I bet you if it ends up happening at some point, my point is this. In terms of when he does it. Let's say he gets, and I know the Malcolm Brogdon stuff's off the table. Let's say it's Colin Sexton. And we're like, all right, maybe there's more pieces to it. I'm just saying the bigger name involved in the trade, if he goes to Cleveland, would be a Colin Sexton in this hypothetical. Oh, you could have done that 4 months ago and gotten rid of the drama. Yes, that's very true, but at the same time, you still had an opportunity at the time, if you remember, to think about Damian Lillard. Like, there were still options on the table. You didn't miss out on anything. And that was always my message throughout the process of him not getting traded throughout the offseason. You'll always have a portion of trades that the other team will absolutely 1,000% accept for a reason, because it's clearly where the other player that the Philadelphia 76ers are receiving are not as much of a talent. So if it ends up getting so messy, so brutal, and I don't anticipate that at this point because we probably would have seen it already, but let's say you do get a Sexton. It doesn't mean that Daryl Morey played this the wrong way, because you're still getting the same player that you said you would have done it for months ago, and you had an opportunity to land a big fish that you struck out on, but the opportunity was there. Let me still get that chance. That's the way I at least see it. At least Daryl Morey gave himself the chance to do so, where some GMs might not. And that's if it goes down that path. But I don't see it that way anymore. Daryl Morey's no joke. Daryl Morey's matching the intensity of Ben Simmons just on the other side. They have to play it this way. Doc Rivers saying, let's see what happens on Thursday. He's not saying it because he wants to. He's not a dumb guy. He's doing it because he has to. There's a perspective here, a perception. Whether anyone's buying it or not, some seem to be, some don't seem to be. I was waiting for all the organized groups to be waiting outside of Camden to just boo this man. Instead, it was the complete opposite. Keith Pompey put up a video on Twitter the other day of someone actually saying he wanted Ben Simmons back. Yet Jason Dumas, with his 9th false report over the Ben Simmons drama in the last however many months, hit us with that. We're seeing all sorts of high executives or high people around the NBA saying, who wants anything to do with that? When adversity hits, this is the way he's going to handle it? Yeah, I know. It's horrible. It's horrible. And there's nobody to blame but himself. So please, do not get sucked in to anything. Joel Embiid, just pretty much being a leader. I don't care about him. Let's go. I care about the guys that are out there on the floor helping us win a championship. Let's go compete. I'm not here to babysit. All right, Joel. I can't believe it, though, huh? I mean, I can and I can. I said I can believe it 9 times, and then I just said I can't believe it. It's a mixture of emotions. Some of it is, I could easily see that. I could have told you at 9 o'clock this morning that Ben Simmons would give us nothing. So, just the way that it all happened, though, he clearly recognized, all right, I need to get out of this. And if you look at the Doc Rivers angle, I guess here is where I might have played it differently. And this is where the tough spot of it is. He kicked Ben Simmons out knowing that Ben Simmons wanted to do that. Knowing that Ben Simmons tried to find an out so his face did not have to be seen in front of all those cameras. So if I'm Doc, I'm grinding through that practice or just not putting him in there as much or limiting his action and biting the bullet for this specific practice, even though you want and I guess that's easier said than done. When they play tomorrow, they have a game, the first game of the season. If you forgot about it, which I know it can be easily forgotten about with all this happening, but they do have a game tomorrow. So today's practice is extremely important and so damn valuable to focus on the technique. To focus on your game plan, on the identity of what you want to be. So how much can you take of that slop? I'm with you. Easier said than done. But I think I would have played it through, maybe just didn't put him out there on the court and have him sit on the sideline. I don't know. But sending him home got Ben Simmons where he wanted to because, he's afraid of every single moment, yet he's complaining behind the scenes and it's getting released through Ramona Shelburne and all that they're not getting enough. They're not getting enough time. Oh, they're not getting enough time. Okay. Ask Tyrese Maxey what it's like to have this much talent on him, with him, in terms of actually progressing as a player. Imagine thinking that it's bad to be surrounded by Doc Rivers, Danny Green, Seth Curry, Joel Embiid, and some of these other players while becoming an NBA superstar. Well, I guess having the potential to become an NBA superstar. That's like saying, and it's not 1,000% on this level, but just imagine a player who has a high potential, a high ceiling, going to Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker. I don't know if I really like it here. They're not giving me enough time. There's too much winning around. You sound dumb. I'm not putting this core group on the Hall of Fame level by any means, but seriously, the respect level with who's on this roster and the respect level of the head coach around the entire NBA? Please. Amazing. Just amazing. All right, well, we have some anytime hotline calls to react to. Before we get to that, NFL fans hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Brodes. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code Brodes this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I go back to the first time we were able to listen to Seth Curry get asked questions by the media, and he was very vocal about just being focused on what he can control, and then said, we'll know exactly where his mind is at when he shows up and when he's out there on the floor. Just the fact that he's going through the motions the way that he is, it's so damn immature. We're talking about professional athletes, and this guy is handling himself as if he's 14 years old, and there's just no way that you can blame anybody else but yourself. You are just doing it the wrong way. I think it's so ironic that Zach Ertz left town this same week, and you can see the difference in how one man looked at this city, how one man adapted this city, and same with Joel Embiid, who's still here, the way that he is one of us and a part of this culture. Lane Johnson, I already mentioned how he handled things as well, compared to, Ben Simmons, who is just completely 1,000% lost. And I just wonder, too, at times, how much of this is the new era of athlete. But then I go back to Tyrese Maxey. Look at Tyrese Maxey and how he wants to become a basketball player. This is not normal. Yes, as generations went by, there have been softer athletes and different approaches by coaching staffs where you can't be told, swallow your own throw up and get back out there. We're not giving you any water, and you're going to go through dehydration because we have 2 a days. I mean, yeah, it's not to that level, and there's a softer approach. And then there's Ben Simmons, which is all the way at the bottom. He is the absolute bottom feeder of the worst, the softest of the damn soft. I could have never imagined in a billion years, all of a sudden he'd be okay to start saying, oh yeah, I make mistakes. You're just unwilling for me to do that. What? You're so out of touch. You're so out of whack. Don't you think that? I'm watching right now The Circle on Netflix with the fiance, right? If you haven't seen the show before, it's where you're behind the screen and you're talking to a group chat. You can either be yourself or you could be a catfish, right? And if you're a catfish, though, you got to remember all the things you say to other people so you don't end up stepping all over your toes or shooting yourself in the foot, right? So you got to remember what you said. And now it's like Ben, I'm using that as an analogy here, where does he not remember what he said? He's like stepping all over himself here. He's being such a damn hypocrite. Ben, what did you see at Game 7? You didn't shoot the basketball. Did you see Trae Young's stat line? Did you see what I was able to do passing the ball and giving my teammates open looks? Well, that's not admitting you made a mistake. That's redirecting the issue, and that's a defensive mechanism. So, yeah, there's a reason why we don't trust you with this whole, I need time. First off, you had plenty of time, and you haven't taken enough steps, not even close. And 2, you've never admitted a mistake in your damn life. So you just sound like a damn fool, Ben. You really do. All right, I can't wait to hear these reactions on the Anytime Hotline. The Anytime Hotline is brought to you by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of industry experience, Orbit Energy and Power is home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. Orbit Energy and Power also provides water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, electrical upgrades, new roofs, heating and cooling, and so much more. Make sure you check out their information at orbitenergy.us or call 800-836-3987 for more information there. Numbers and website are down below in the description. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline and hear what you had to say after this bizarre, emotional day.
Yo, what's going on, Brodes? At first, I was just going to call in and complain about Ben. But the more I think about it, I'm just going to take the Joel Embiid approach to this of just not giving a fuck about what he does anymore. I mean, I'm so sick of this clown. It's like every day that something new comes out. So I decided just to block all the news about Ben. And with that being said, I look forward to the start of the regular season and hoping they get a win against New Orleans.
I like that approach. I do. I respect the fact that you're doing that. I just can't, because this is so large. This is so monstrous. I'd be lying to myself if I just pretended it wasn't a reality. And I gotcha. I mean, the right way to do it is maybe put it aside. Don't allow it to bother you. He's getting what he wants to. Not everything. He wants out of town. But I'm saying a part of this is revenge. Just like we have satisfaction in watching him have pain, we have satisfaction in watching his pockets get hit hard and him not making any sort of money since he's been here this season, right? Like all of that we find pleasure in. He's finding pleasure in that too, where, we are reacting this way. We're pissed off. We're reacting with this emotion and pouring it out of our body, and our faces are turning red, and spit is flying into microphones all throughout the Delaware Valley, and people calling into radio stations, right? I mean, he's getting that type of pounce from us, and I'm sure there's satisfaction to a degree there too, because he's laughing it off, going, damn, look at these idiots. That's how he's probably looking at it, because he's so unaware of what he's doing to his image and his likeness at the same time. He's not weighing out the pros and cons of how this is being all handled. But I can't do that. And I will talk about strictly the game tomorrow, and we will get into it. But guess what's going to be also talked about a lot? Ben Simmons. This is T.O. style. This is what it is. When Donovan McNabb, T.O., and the Eagles went through it. And you know what? There's been plenty of athletes that have been uncomfortable in a certain spot. James Harden, Anthony Davis. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Contract-wise, not shooting a basketball-wise, blaming everybody else-wise, the Rich Paul effect too, every detail involved in this story makes it so damn unique, and it's really hard to relate it to some of the other NBA stuff. In terms of toxicness, though, yeah, once it gets to a certain level of butting heads, it can be compared to McNabb and T.O. and, I mean, different scenario with the money being paid towards T.O. There's differences in it. I'm just talking about the headlines, the storylines, the media attention, and deservedly so. So I respect it, I do. And I hope that there's a lot of people out there that can do that. I can't do that. I can't. I'd be lying to myself. I have to look myself in the mirror. It's unfortunate that Ben Simmons can't do this, but I have to look myself in the mirror every day and say I did my best. I left it out there on the floor or on the ice or on the football field. If I pretended this wasn't a reality and I put it behind me, I couldn't look myself in the mirror the right way. But that's just me. There's no right or wrong way. Thank you for the call. I appreciate that. Very objective, non-emotional call as the first call. I'm not going to say I'm thrown off track by that, but there's an element to me that I just expected heat nonstop. But we'll see. What's next?
Ben Simmons is such a clown, but what I love more is to hear Joel Embiid's reaction to his suspension, just being so, professional. He answered most of the questions just saying that he ain't babysitting his ass and just saying that he wants to win and just have fun with his teammates and that he's not taking any responsibility and he's just letting the guys upstairs and that we're just going to have a fun season. It made me want to watch the team again because I was so out. I wasn't going to watch, but Joel Embiid just made me want to watch again. That's all I care about.
No, I understand that mentality for sure in terms of how are you going to watch this team and have that joy knowing the black cloud that is constantly following the action right now. And yeah, how is Joel Embiid going to take this city on his back and say, all right, look, I know what's going on, but you just wait to watch me even take a bigger stride. You watch me dominate the league as an MVP and we'll shove it right up. You know, Ben Simmons, Hakalugi, right on him. By the way I play, basically. That's what I'm doing. I agree 1,000% with Joel. I mean, you could tell that he's fed up, but I agree 1,000% with Joel. I don't want to worry about it. See, I'm different than Joel. To tie it back to our previous caller, it would be different for me to have a certain way of feeling about it and then Joel. Joel putting it behind him and not worrying and focusing on how to play with Tyrese Maxey, how to properly focus on the way this new offense is going to look without your 6'10 point guard running up and down with the open floor in regular season action, which is the only way that his style of play actually works, which is an LA Fitness. I don't feel like playing defense type of style unless you're playing me, who plays a lot of defense at LA Fitness, and you want me on your team, but that's neither near here nor there. I feel there's an extra motivation kicking in for Joel, and that's scary, but that's how the real ones are wired. They take this in. They have this push you. It bothers you deep down. You might not allow it to be seen physically as much as it's actually happening, but it bottles up inside of you. Hard for you to fathom. Can't comprehend it fully. And you want to take that next step after already taking a monstrous step last season into the MVP category. We actually have people still defending Ben Simmons, by the way. Here's Nathan Chester of, what does he do? He is the senior writer for SB Nation Grizzlies, NBA Grizzlies. Okay, here we are. I'm 100% on Team Ben. Imagine being in a terrible workplace that you have made it clear that you want to leave, but not only do they keep you from leaving, they force you to show up to work and then get mad at you when you don't give it 100%. Nonsense. What a loser. I mean, that couldn't be. Nathan, you are a loser. What type of mentality is that? Hold on, you signed a deal. You signed a deal to do a job. You're unhappy. You say, I'm not doing the job. But you signed the contract to do the job. That's why you signed the contract to do it. You didn't have to sign the contract. Come on now, Ben. Here we are. This is the Sixers' fault. This is the Sixers' fault. And there's plenty of dopes out there that feel the same way about Ben. Now, he's not big enough to have any sort of Rich Paul ties, but once you start getting to the bigger name people that are on Team Ben, Pro Ben in the media, it's because they're trying to keep their leverage and keep their relationship smooth with Rich Paul because, well, that's how you make it in this business, by making those type of relationships, and you don't want to burn that bridge. So there's a difference in a little no-name somebody and then a big talking head that you see on those TV networks and whatnot, but unbelievable that's the type of foolishness that we see. Oh, imagine your head coach throwing you under the bus. What do you mean? Imagine sucking in Game 7 in the fourth quarters and not taking a shot in 4 straight 4 quarters. Why is that not being imagined? Oh, imagine going to work. Imagine not taking a shot in the fourth quarter as a $30 million point guard when you're a half inch away from the basket when Trae Young is underneath of you. And I keep hearing this scenario. Well, Brodes, why do you keep saying that? If you tell me he makes that dunk, then this doesn't happen, this reaction doesn't happen. No, it still happens because 99% of the fourth quarter still was a major problem. But it's a definition. It's a defining moment. It's the microcosm of the issue. But you think of Matisse Thybulle, but everything changes, right? The foul on Matisse Thybulle, everything changes so much. You're telling me, well, imagine changing the possession and the points scored and the trajectory of the fourth quarter. I can't. He didn't do it. And he had many opportunities to do it in a fourth quarter, and he shied away every time. Why can't we put that in there? Imagine being Ben Simmons and going through what he went through on the basketball floor. That part's just getting not factored into the equation. That makes me sick. What's next?
Hey, what's up, bros? This is Jay from West Philly. Been watching this stuff since the Toronto series back in 2019. First time caller. And yeah, at this point, he just got to go. You know, Ben Simmons, oh my goodness. I'd rather trade him for second round picks, man. I'd rather have Markelle Fultz back. Like, I'll literally take anything. Like, it just don't matter at this point.
Yeah, see, that's not what they want to do, though, and I appreciate the call and all the support dating back to that Toronto Raptors series. Thank you so much. But, I mean, you know that's not going to happen. That's why they're in this predicament to begin with. If that was their mentality, they would have done that months ago. That's not what they're fighting for, and I don't necessarily disagree with them to this point because, you know, you have to think about how important this trade really is. This is the difference in finding somebody to pair up with Joel Embiid that can either win you a championship or you don't win a championship. Now, it's very difficult. I'm not saying, you know, it's that simple to wait for that as if it's just out there. It might not be out there, but you have leverage due to the 4 years on the contract. This trade is so big. This sets your franchise up for at least we can legitimately compete at that highest level. You might not win, but it gives you the best position to actually compete for a title, or you get a slop. You get a bag of basketballs and a grilled cheese sandwich and a Mr. Pibb, and that puts you where? You're in the leverage spot. It's hurting his brand, so teams might not want to trade for him right now, but that's hurting Ben Simmons too. And the Sixers didn't really, I don't know how much leverage they have lost to this point. I think it's more just Ben Simmons is ruining his image. I sense that the brand is, or the trade value is still sitting in the same spot as it was prior to this situation. Cleveland, Minnesota, these teams that are a problem and can't have success unless your name is LeBron James and you go back home. It's hard to get free agents. People don't want to play here. We have Ben Simmons. He wants out of Philly bad. What can we give up? I know he's been drama-filled, but at the end of the day, when you don't make the postseason, when you're absolutely stuck, you're down in the dumps, you take that shot because the potential is so high, and that's always going to be the end of the day response for whoever does trade for him eventually. Because I know it looks like the worst situation ever in the history of the NBA right now, which it's up there in drama land. Whenever that one team trades for him, it's probably going to come down to that. The potential is too high. Potential is just too high. He'll always have that. It's just the way that it works. It's just the way that it works. But this guy's been a clown. You know, the huddle thing, not being in the middle of the huddle. Team's breaking down. 1, 2, 3, team. Or 1, 2, 3, Sixers, whatever it is. He's in the back nonchalantly with a disturbing look on his face. I'm embarrassed for him. I am. And I know that it's starting to lean towards the point of almost feeling bad for him because it's clear that something is wrong with his brain. But at the same time, I don't feel bad for him. I haven't hit that spot yet where I'm starting to feel bad for him. I'm not there. I won't allow that to happen. This is simple. It's simple. It's not that difficult to process. All right, we'll take one more here.
This whole thing is ridiculous with Ben. I mean, for God's sake, the man tried to fake a COVID exposure just to fail on the Sixers in Game 7. This whole thing is dumb. Get him out of town now.
Okay, just nice and sweet and to the point there at the end. Daryl Morey is not just going to get rid of him. That's why we are here. So it's going to be the waiting game, and the Sixers do have some leverage here over Ben Simmons. So we'll see how Daryl Morey puts it in, through the rest of the season here. What's the approach going to be? It seems like it's pretty simple, right? I mean, if we're looking for answers, Doc Rivers and the entire team, they're going to keep saying, we'll love to have him back. We'll have him back. We'll have him back. We'll greatly have him back. Because that's what the message needs to be for them to continue down this path. They're going to open the doors up for him. He's probably going to act like a child, not fully put in his effort, give 20% energy, get sent home, and there'll be conduct detrimental to the team, and there'll be suspensions. And then, like I said, with the CBA, he'll end up getting kicked out. Or, excuse me, I'm looking at my notes. He got kicked out of practice. With the CBA, if it's the repeat suspensions for the same issue over and over again, the NBA steps in, which makes it a different factor. But I do feel like that Game 7 story, while it was big and we discussed it, I don't know if it's been nationally discussed as much as it should have been. Think about this wild scenario that we're laying out on the table. This guy faked a COVID issue, so we did not have to play Game 7, which was at home, by the way, because he was so unafraid of the moment and he had the yips so badly he couldn't make any sort of free throw, and he was a major problem on the basketball floor. He faked a COVID issue to not play Game 7. What athlete doesn't live for that moment? Now, of course, there's nerves, right? But it's a good adrenaline rush. There's good nerves. Everyone wants to play in that big game. I'll never forget when I was playing junior hockey, and hell, my freshman year, we made the playoffs in the ECAC West and had to play 8th-ranked Hobart in the country. And I'm like, okay, I'm a freshman, and here I am playing in a playoff game on the road against the 8th best team in the country. I had nerves. I had butterflies in my stomach. That's called normal reaction. That's called normal human. It's anxiety. It's excitement, it's nervousness, it's you're jumped up, you're juiced up, it's adrenaline, it's I can't wait to play in this high leverage moment. That's what you dream of when you're an athlete, those big moments to set you up over the top, rising to the occasion so you're satisfied with playing well in a high pressured situation. That's what limits some players. They can't get to that level, and that's the difference in you being a stud or not. And what did I have in that game? Well, I'm not going to lie. I think it was No. Let's just keep it there. I know what I was. We'll keep that internal. I didn't have a bad game. Hobart was just that nasty. It wasn't necessarily my fault if I was -2 or not. Oh, did I just pull a Ben Simmons? I did that on purpose, I swear to God. But yeah, no. Look, the team was good. All right, the team was good. No one cares about that hockey game at all. Everyone cares about Ben Simmons and what's next for the Sixers. And I think we're going to see a lot of this. This is going to be the common theme as the weeks play out. Games will be happening. We'll be talking minorly about the games, majorly about Ben until the next move happens, and Ben and the Sixers will play a cat and mouse game, and I'm fascinated to see the response to this. And with that, that's where we're going to end things here. I want to thank everybody so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes, and I will see you next time.